Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Hope you're comfortable and ready to hear another experience from this magnificent website that I read and experience from every week. I also hope you have had a chance to go and investigate this site yourself. I'm in no ways affiliated with it. I just, I like it because it has the content for this podcast and gives us all an opportunity to explore what people have seen and felt and experienced when they are in this other dimension. I always go into these experiences before I read them with the back of my mind knowing that what these people are describing is indescribable. It's beyond our conceptions from a human perspective. However, it's still nice to relive what these people have seen and gone through, even if words are limited in their ability to describe what it was actually like. So this one from Donna I'm about to read is really short. It's not much depth in terms of what the other dimension was actually like, but it's just a nice, light experience and a bit of fun, I think, from the skimming I've done so far through it. It looks like it's got a nice positive side to it. So let's get into it. In 1974, I had a near-death experience. For a short period of time, my heart stopped beating and my brain ceased to function. After my physical body died, I entered a world made of white light. My story begins in the operating room of a hospital in the Midwest. I was given general anesthesia for a common but invasive medical procedure, and near the end of the operation, the doctor made a terrible mistake. He cut an artery and I lost massive amounts of blood. Too much blood to sustain life. As my body lay dying on the operating table, I rose up and surveyed the situation. The doctors and nurses were in a frenzy, yelling at each other, grabbing white towels, passing metal instruments, and sweating as if their lives were on the line instead of mine. I felt their fear, and as they tried desperately to save me. But I couldn't understand why they were so upset. Surely they could see I was perfectly fine. Calm down, I tried to say aloud, laughing a little to ease the tension. But they kept at it, as if they didn't hear me. Maybe I needed to speak a little bit louder. So I said, "Relax." I shouted, "Take it easy." They continued to ignore me, so I flew into their faces and went nose to nose with each one of them. "Look at me. I am all right. There's nothing to worry about." But they acted as if they didn't see me, and I was standing right there in front of them. Why wouldn't they acknowledge me? It was frustrating. I watched them for a few minutes and then grew bored. If they weren't going to talk to me, there was no reason to stay put. So I took off like a bird, as if flying was a natural thing to do. For a while, I just flew around in circles over my lifeless form and the bent heads of the steadfast surgical team. Slowly, I went higher and higher until I was caught up in a brilliant white light. It was whiter and brighter than the rays of the sun, but not at all glaring or hard on the eyes. I could have stayed there forever, basking in the warmth and comfort of its mysterious glow. The sounds of a masculine and utterly magnificent voice captured my attention. Veiled from sight, he addressed me as if I had just awoken from a coma. He told me who I was, where I had been, and where I was from. He answered every question that had ever crossed my mind, as if my smallest concern was of utmost importance. I felt respected and loved. It was a solemn moment. But when he told me why Aunt Betty and Uncle Fred had got married, a question that had always baffled me, I broke into laughter. "Okay," I said, smiling at the man in the light. "I remember now. You don't have to say anything else." It was blissful in the spiritual realm, floating in an ocean of white light. I was content until one of the nurses screamed, "We're losing her!" And the sound of distress hit my spirit like a cannonball shot to the belly. Emotional energy feels stronger to a free spirit than to a spirit wearing a bodysuit made of flesh and bones. It threw me into the air, and I came to a halt about 3 inches away from the ceiling. I looked down at my spiritual body to make sure it was still intact, and what I saw surprised me. There were 2 cherubs, stark naked, except for tiny loincloths, and every bit as cute as the putti in Raphael paintings. "We are escort angels," said one of the twins, with the noble pride of a royal servant. "We have come to take you home." Suddenly, the white light was much brighter. The cherubs positioned themselves on either side of me, near my waist, as we drifted to the corner of the ceiling. I was fully prepared to take off, but my head hit the wall. I repeated the motion again and again, each time expecting the wall to give way, but it didn't budge. The cherub on my left flew across to my face. "You have forgotten," he said. "There is something you must do before you can leave." I struggled with my memories, trying to figure out what I was supposed to do. Finally, it came to me. "Oh, that's right. I forgot to look at the body." My eyes zoomed in on the woman lying on the bed below us. She was 25 years old and in perfect health, except for the loss of blood and spirit. Like a seasoned mechanic inspecting a car, I knew I could fix her. "This isn't serious enough," I said, more to myself than the cherubs. In a split second, I was back in my body. I plunged head first into the navel, and it was like diving into wet concrete. My body had become stiff, and I had to twist and turn to make my spirit fit. After settling in, I looked at the ceiling. The cherubs were waiting for proof that I was all right. I made eye contact with one of them, and then they flew through the same wall that had prevented my escape. Tears brushed my cheeks. What have I done? I could have left with them. Right now, I could be on my way home. But once again, I'm trapped in a world of limitations. And that is the end of Donna's experience. So like I said, nice and light and not too in depth, no incredible descriptions of love and light or magnificent landscapes, just a cute little experience with someone floating out of their body and being greeted by some cherub-like angels. So this experience happened back in 1974, so right around when this phenomenon started to really pick up steam. This is when those initial books came out on the topic and people were interested, and those who had experiences themselves realized that what had happened to them wasn't such a unique thing, and it was the beginning of the evolution of this topic becoming a little bit more mainstream. So Donna doesn't go into much detail as to what brought her to this state of crossing our or leaving our dimension and moving into the next. All she says is that she is having a medical procedure. It's a common one, and she is on the operating table, and the doctor makes a mistake. He cuts an artery, and this causes some bleeding, which obviously causes her to lose consciousness, and eventually, does it say her heart stops? I'm not sure, but anyway, the important thing from my point of view, from this podcast point of view, is she gets to experience life from this other perspective that we investigate on a weekly basis. So the doctor snicks the artery and causes some internal bleeding, and obviously this is the gateway for her. She doesn't talk about what this transition was like. Like, she just says 1 minute she's in the body, and then the next she's out of it. She's no longer witnessing what is happening from a physical point of view. She says she's up on the ceiling somewhere, and she can see the doctors running around. And this is a regular thing that I read, and it's must be, it's interesting because people jump out of their body and they feel better than what they did while they are in these physical shells that we all carry around, and they see the commotion of what their brush with death or their declining physical state is causing everyone on Earth. It's like they're fine. They're better than they were. Like, they want to often convey this to the people, the doctors, the nurses, the family who are worried about them, who are working on them, who are trying to repair the body, but obviously because they're in this other dimension and they can't communicate with the physical, they can't get through the message that they're actually in a better place now, and it's almost like I'm reading this experience and I'm thinking Donna almost is willing to tell the doctors, don't worry about it, I'm fine, just let me go. I don't really want to be trapped in this physical body in the world. I'm in a much better state as this spiritual being. But our society, the way our this world is set up, where we're so focused on keeping this physical body we all use alive, and so scared of death that obviously when someone comes close to it causes a lot of drama and panic, and that's understandable because we're all so unsure exactly what awaits us on the other side. If anything, is this the only experience we get, this human-like experience we're all having now, or is there some sort of continuation of that once this body expires? And that's what this podcast is all about. As you know, it's an investigation of that. And experience after experience after experience will tell us that it does continue on, and often it is in a state of more peace and calmness than the one we experience as a human. So maybe we should be a little bit more relaxed and understanding and welcoming and less fearful of death. It's hard though, because death is the end of a physical being that we knew and loved in this world, and when we lose someone like that, it's obviously very difficult for the ones left behind. But at the same time, the more you investigate it and what different religions and societies understand about this process, there seems to be a genuine consensus that there is a continuation, just in a different form and in a different dimension to the one we are currently all involved in. So she's there. She's in this room. She's witnessing her own body. She's witnessing it being worked on. She's getting frustrated because no one will actually acknowledge her existence. And it's a little bit confusing reading this. I don't know if she acknowledges it herself. Is she comprehending the situation and understanding that she is actually in spiritual form at this point, or does she still think she's alive somehow? Because she's definitely trying to communicate, but yeah, we don't get much more information than that. So she gives up. She figures they're not going to talk to me, they can't hear me, they don't want to know what I have to say, so she goes and decides to do a bit of exploring. She says she starts to fly, just take off, and it feels like the most natural thing she can do. She circles over the medical team and has a look down at this lifeless body she once inhabited, and goes up and up, and eventually catches up or connects with this bright light that many people do. And many people describe it as the brightest, most intense light they could ever imagine. And Donna is no different here. She connects with it and just enjoys being there. It's warm, it's comforting. It's also mysterious, she says, and she feels very comfortable there. the voice then, or the light then starts to communicate with her. And for her, it's not in a telepathic way like it is with many people who have near-death experiences. She says she can hear this loud, masculine, utterly magnificent voice, and it captures her attention. She can't see where it's coming from, but she can hear it. And this voice is just beautiful to her. It knows everything about her. It tells her who she is, where she was born, why she's in hospital. It knows every little thing about her. Then goes on, she says the voice starts to answer every question that ever crossed her mind. From the small, and this sounds to me, semi like a life review, sort of. Doesn't say that's what happens, but if this voice goes through and answers every question that's ever crossed Donna's mind, that's going to take a fair bit of time, you would have thought, because I think we all have questions about life, the universe, God, on a regular basis. Well, I certainly do. My list of questions that would need to be answered would be very long. It'd be almost infinite. So I hope God's patient and ready for me to cross over and sit there for a long time before I am satisfied with all the answers. Yeah. But this communication with the light is a really profound experience for Donna. She's feels genuinely respected and loved during this conversation. It's like, I like the way she's written this too. It's like her smallest concern was of the utmost importance to the light. So she feels genuinely cared for in this situation. Then they have a bit of a joke about her auntie and uncle and why she chose him to marry. And she doesn't tell us in this experience what the answer was, but it sounds like a bit of a joke between herself and the light. So there she is. She's in heaven. She's in this blissful spiritual realm, floating around, not a worry in the world, until suddenly she hears this scream. We're losing her. And she hears one of the noises. She's back in this physical realm. And she says the energy behind these few words, this stressful statement that we're losing her, is enough to knock her spirit for six, as we say in Australia, or knock her spirit in, not just knock her around and jolt her out of this peacefulness that she's experiencing. She words it as like a cannonball shot to the belly. And she says that as a spirit, the emotional energy that you experience is a lot more intense, and there's no barrier. Like you're exposed a lot more, is the way I'm reading that. Whereas when we are exposed to energy, and particularly negative energy, I guess in a way we're so used to it as a human, and we do kind of learn to live with it, I guess, in a way. Whereas in this other realm, it seems that negativity or stress or fear is less common or non-existent. It feels as though that is the way it is. So she's been removed from this loving dimension. This light seems to have gone away now, and she's back in this hospital room where she is in a bit of trouble from a physical perspective. So she looks down to see what she actually looks like, because this is her next bit of curiosity in this experience. And she sees two cherubs, and they announce to her that they are her escort angels. And they say this with noble pride of a royal servant. And they say, "We have come to take you home." Suddenly, this white light reappears and becomes much brighter, almost, I guess, as they're anticipating her to finally exit this realm and go back to the light. And the angels are all there, and they're all ready to head off and go back home. And then she says that one of the cherubs say to you, "But before we take you back to the light, you've just got one thing to do. Have you forgotten what that is?" And Donna thinks, she racks her mind, she can't quite recall, and suddenly it pops into her head, "Oh, that's right, I wanted to have one more look at my physical body." And this seems to be a big mistake. Well, mistake in terms of her anticipation of going back home rather than having to go and live another 50 plus years inside a physical shell. But she looks back at the body because the cherub reminds her this is what she wanted to do, and this seems to be the path that brings her back to her physical body, because when she looks back at her body, she sees this young woman. She's only 25 years old. It's in perfectly good health apart from the surgery it's having at the moment, and there's a whole lot of life in that body to be lived. And she thinks, well, look, it's a little bit broken now, but the doctors are going to pretty much fix whatever's wrong with it pretty easily, and it will recover. And she says, this isn't serious enough. I think my body's going to make it through this little incident. So as she thinks that, the cherubs kind of step aside, and she proceeds to go back into her body. The way she describes this entry back into her body, it's a difficult one. She feels that the body is stiff from being in that same position for so long, and she kind of has to twist and turn the body to let the spirit fit back in. And after settling in, she looks back up at the ceiling and sees that those angels are still up there, waiting sort of with anticipation to hear if she is actually okay. And she just sort of gives them a wink and doesn't say a thumbs up, but you get the idea that she relays to them that she's back, she's okay, that I guess they can go now. Almost instantly after that happened, she has this fear of dread and regret, thinking, what have I done? I could have gone back. I could have, left this dimension and gone back home. But this is the decision she's made. And I wonder how Donna panned out, because this experience occurred in 1974. So that's, this is 50 years ago now. So she'd be 75. So it'd be interesting to know, just like all these experiences. I'm curious to see how they change the person, to understand what impact this experience has had for them, and if any. And what paths they took and how much they draw on these type of events to help them navigate the life that they have lived. But if near-death experiences are to be believed, I guess this is possible. One day we can have our own life review and delve into others. It seems that is what can be done. All of our lives are being recorded and analysed and filed away for us to be investigated again at another point, from another angle and another dimension. And that is a powerful part of these experiences, because it helps me anyway try to live a better life. And it sounds a bit weird in terms of me saying that, but when you think that you can go and relive this life again, and to know that if you are able to positively impact other lives, and you can see the ripple effect that has, it is an inspiring way to motivate yourself to make a few little changes. They don't have to be big, just a smile, just a hello, just a quick chat or a quick helping hand when you otherwise wouldn't, is a good little way to live your lives. And regardless of whether there's a life review or not, and whether there's even an afterlife or not, to make someone else's life that little bit easier, I guess should be reward enough. But to think that there could be these life reviews and all these other treats waiting for us for when we do make it over there to the other side. And I'm biased, but I firmly believe that there's a lot of truth to these experiences. Then that gives you that added incentive to want to improve yourself and make others' lives more enjoyable. So yeah, just a tiny little experience today, nothing too in depth or too deep, just a nice simple treat to hopefully liven you up for half an hour or so and put you in a slightly better place. So yeah, hoping that's what it did for you anyway. So yeah, sending you love and looking forward to talking to you again next week, and wishing you a good week in between that. So yeah, thank you for listening. Have a good one. Bye.